Good morning, Sault Marie and Algoma. Welcome to Special Report for Wednesday, July the 29th. It's Hump Day. I'm Chris Oldcorn, and I am here with
Dani Dupuis. Welcome to the Special Report, and thank you to KC Security for sponsoring the show. And it is Wednesday, so excited. We're halfway there, and then tomorrow we get to say it's Baby Friday, Junior Friday. Super excited. How are you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing good. It's once again, we did not get rained on coming in today, just like yesterday, so that's always a nice plus. We'll find out a little bit more about weather with Dan in a bit, but at 1 o'clock you can come back, join us at the 1 p.m. Special Report with Premier Ford. Once again today, Dr. Mary Lee Fullerton will be with Doug Ford for the announcement. They're going to be talking about the there's going to be an independent commission into COVID-19 and our long-term care homes. I talked about this in the past, of the 37 largest economies in the world, they're part of the OECD. Canada is the one with the highest amount of deaths as a percentage in our long-term care homes, way higher, double the average of actually the OECD, which is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which is basically the 38 largest economies in the world. So we did not fare well against everybody else. As a matter of fact, we were at 81% of our COVID-19 deaths were in long-term care. Spain was the next closest at 66, and the OECD average was actually 41%, so basically half the Canadian average.
You've done your homework.
I did a whole show on it a while ago. And our numbers obviously were much, much different from everywhere else in the world with regards to long-term care. And a lot of this is systemic problems that have been long-term care for quite some time. So they're now going to look into long-term care, COVID-19, how did it happen, what can we do in the future to prevent this happening
We talked
again.
about porcupine and how extensive it was and how quickly it spread. And I think moving forward from this, if we have to go back down to stage 2 or if we shut back down again, at least they'll know, okay, what did we do wrong the first time around? How can we prevent it moving forward? And we also know coming up today with Ford, they're going to be talking about whether or not Toronto is going to be moving into that stage 3. So that's going to be super interesting.
That would be very big news for Toronto.
Very big news.
Stage 3. And when we first started doing COVID-19, there was the Pinecrest home in Bobcaygeon.
Yes.
Where over half the residents died. And they weren't separating the sick ones from the healthy ones. They weren't people exposed. They were not even being quarantined. So now we're going to take a look back, see what we did right, what we did wrong. And it's not just for COVID-19. What's the next virus that comes and are we ready for it? How are we going to do it?
With the anticipated spike in the fall.
This,
yeah, we are. It's so much. And, it's good that they keep on learning. It's not like they're stopping right now and okay, we have a few things resolved. We're going to focus on something else. They're still continuing to focus on what needs to be, like I said, focused on. So our long-term care homes, if we do get that spike again come fall, who are going to be more susceptible to it? And we even talked about how some numbers have gone down and we're seeing more numbers in cases in younger individuals. So there's lots going on.
Yeah, in the last week in Ontario anyways, 64% of the cases are individuals between 20 and 39.
Yeah.
So we're now seeing COVID-19 moving to a different demographic than it was in before. Most of our cases before were actually people over the age of 60.
It's probably adapting to its surroundings and being able to just quickly fit.
Yeah, a lot of people in their 20s are still working in retail jobs. A lot of people have their first office jobs, and now they're going back to that. Yeah. They're working in restaurants, and those things have just started to open back up. So it's no surprise that younger people are now being a lot of the cases. However, we do see young people doing stupid things, such as that party in Brampton with 200 plus people.
Okay, what is going on with Brampton? I'm not sure if you've been watching the news right now.
About the shootings as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is nuts. They had, 5 or 4 shootings just yesterday alone. Yeah. Some of them in broad daylight. One of them, they had a cam from a house where the person literally just walked up with the gun and shot in his driveway.
In broad daylight.
Yay, Sault Marie, we're doing so great.
We love doing that. Our mailbox break-ins, so let's keep up with those.
But we do have some local news
Keep the guns out of here.
Yes.
And actually, speaking of police, my show last night, I talked about the police and the thin blue line flag and Blue Lives Matter as well as All Lives, so you can go back and watch that on Facebook. My actual excerpt about the police last night is up live on YouTube as well. It's 6 minutes. You can see my full 6-minute story about that, as well as my opinions on certain movements that are going on right now that are trying to defund the police. And I think this is a perfect example of why you don't defund police, because just imagine how many broad daylight shootings there would be if there wasn't police to actually stop these things and go and arrest these people.
But we're going to turn away from that and focus our attention right now.
Slightly more
positive note. I'm not sure if anyone's seen in the community. Sioux Pride, unfortunately, had to cancel their Pride Walk, an event this year because of COVID-19. So they actually shifted gears and started a lawn sign campaign. As you can see, there is a Sioux Pride connecting our community. Now, what's really interesting about this, they didn't put an official date on it because they're saying, hey, you know what? We can use these signs for next year and years to come. So that's really great that they've done this.
I walked by one of those on
they're all
Lake
over.
Street the other day.
Lake Street, they have a few down at City Hall. You know, they've had over 150 signs, if not more, sold. So really great that Sioux Pride is sticking together. And even if you go down to the Rainbow Club, Coach Katrine has just got everything all rainbow, all pride, and it's actually really beautiful. And even the fact that she's actually created little stickers for everyone too. So some really great work going on in the Sioux right now. It's great to see.
Yeah, speaking of good work, scientists all over the globe have been doing research into Alzheimer's, and they look like they might have an actual good solid breakthrough that's an easy way to test if someone has Alzheimer's or they're developing it. So there's been, they just had the International Conference on Alzheimer's, and there's a blood test. Now, this blood test, what we have right now are brain scans and then also memory tests and things like that. And also there's a test in spinal fluid as well. The brain scan and spinal fluid tests are very invasive.
Painful.
Painful.
Spine tapping.
Spinal tapping is not fun. I mean, brain scan's okay because they're not sticking anything into your brain.
But they got to go right down to the bone marrow and everything in there when they do that.
Yeah. So these tests, this new one is actually a blood test, and there's a couple of simultaneous studies going on at the same time. But this test was accurate between 89 to 98% of the time. Now, the reason why it's accurate is there's two proteins that start developing in your body that start to eat at your brain, which is what happens with Alzheimer's. And these two proteins, when they get elevated, they now have tests to figure this out way ahead of where they were before on this.
That's good.
So this is not only just like, oh, someone's having some memory problems, we should test them for Alzheimer's or dementia. This is a test they can do even as much as 20 years before you get Alzheimer's to see if this protein is actually in your system.
So even individuals who have early set Alzheimer's, even before that,
we could actually start testing people at age 40 and blood test everyone. It's a blood test. You just go to the lab like you do for a doctor, you get the requisition, you go over to the lab, give your blood. It's the same idea. This is a preventative test that we could start giving people at, let's say, age 40 to see if they have elevated levels of either one of these two proteins.
You know what? Look at technology right now. This
is a massive breakthrough because we don't have any treatments for Alzheimer's presently that work very well. But at least this way we can actually do early intervention, and they can try other stuff to try and lower, like let's say find a way to lower those protein levels to stop it from developing over so many years of you developing Alzheimer's, from them able to actually just stop that increase of the protein in your system. If this is true, then they could find a way to actually lower those protein levels and keep them down, and then you would not develop Alzheimer's necessarily as quickly, or maybe not even at all, depending on how early you do it. This is a massive breakthrough.
That's great news, and we're so happy to be sharing that. And our next story actually comes from Mackinac Island yesterday.
Another somewhat good news story.
Well, interesting.
Could have been bad, but it's
you know what? It's still bad. So what had happened was there were 4 individuals on a boat or vessel, as they were saying, and it actually kind of in the middle of the night collided with one of the cement walls, and the 4 individuals were actually ejected from the boat and fell onto a bunch of the rocks. We know that one of them is in critical condition, and then 4 more have major injuries, and they have been airlifted over to the hospital there. But it's just, you know what, they're taking this time to, and there's an image, but they're taking this time right now to show preventative measures when you are boating at night. You know, make sure you have your lights, make sure you know your surrounding areas. We're really happy to know that no one is in, severe injuries, but it's still just keep an eye out, guys. Make sure. We also don't know if there was drinking involved. There's a number of factors, and even then, they kind of fine you for the same amount of what it would be if you were driving drunk. So. And
you don't drive your car without the lights on, so
you shouldn't be
driving your boat either.
But we are going to throw to our weatherman, Dan. How's it going over there, Dan?
Good morning, Dani. Thank you very much to Chris and Dani. I got a statistic for you guys quickly.
Ooh.
1898 on this day, the temperature at Prineville, Oregon soared to 119 degrees to establish a state record, which was tied on the 10th of August at Pendleton. So that translates to 48.3 Celsius, and I wanted to bring that up because,
48.3?
Oh my gosh.
Chris, is that more like your temperature that you want?
No, that's more than what I want.
That's like a fried egg on
I'm
the...
good with like 40 with the Humidex, but 48 is...
You could do all your cooking outside, let's be honest, just on the asphalt right there.
You can just cook dinner on the hood of your car.
You don't need a sauna, you're good there. You
You might want to go in a sauna to cool down.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to give a quick live view here of our camera, which is sponsored by wirelesscom.ca. Sorry about that, tongue twister. There's some clouds that are lingering there in the distance, the camera has moved. We're now looking at the Delta, which is right in the center there, and then the pavilion off to your left. We're going to see a sunny day. I'm going to have details when we come back from the break, your 3-day forecast, as well as your regional temperatures, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
A message from the Government of Canada.
In your home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room. Create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place at the right time in style. And it's only from Hunter Douglas.
At Maitland Ford Lincoln, we see our trucks everywhere. We see them on Queen Street, Lake Street, North Street, Bay Street, 2nd line, 3rd line, 4th line, Pine Street, Great Northern Peoples Road, Wellington, Cora Road, Bruce Street, Carmen's Way, Northern Ave, Trunk Road. Folks come from all over Algoma District and beyond to buy their truck at Maitland Ford Lincoln. Amazing prices, outstanding service. King Street, Shannon Road, Goulet Bay, Black Road, Government Road, and even on Pine Shores. Yep, our trucks are everywhere. Get yours at Maitland Ford Lincoln, built for Northern life, on Great Northern Road, just north of the hospital.
And welcome back to Special Report for Wednesday, July the 29th. We are brought to you by KC Securities and got a couple Facebook shout-outs. Good morning to my mother and Nicole. Thank you very much for your comments and your likes.
Good morning, Nicole.
Yeah, good morning.
She's one of my regular watchers, so
yes,
thank you very much.
Is. She's the one that's waiting to come here actually for school.
Woo woo.
Yeah, so she's in Trinidad right now, but she's going to school here in town. But obviously can't fly here right now to get here for school. But we're going to go over to Dan now for our 3-day forecast. What's going on?
Thanks, Chris and Danny. Good morning, everyone. We saw last night, you might have seen in certain areas there was a sprinkle or a shower, depending on where you were, and there was some pretty dark clouds. We'll have a photo of that coming up on our Weather Watcher, but I'm going to quickly look at our radar map here. So what you can see here is this is kind of the low and the high are kind of meeting right here, right above us right now. Now, that's moved through that chance of showers that we had yesterday. We've got this high that's kind of moving in here. It's going to sit over us for a while, so there's not a whole lot to report on the way of, there may be a shower on the weekend, but it's 30% at this point, so there's not much going on. So we'll kind of monitor that as we get closer to the weekend. Okay, so we're going to get into your regional temperatures, your expected highs for today. Thunder Bay, you will see a high of 26. Wawa, once again, that cool spot, 19 degrees. 22 in Timmins, 23 here in Sault Ste. Marie, 26 in Elliott Lake, and 25 in Sudbury. So pretty seasonal. And, you know, Elliott Lake will be the hot spot. So Thunder Bay, your low for tonight will be 17. Wawa, 12, again, the cool spot. 14 in Timmins, 15 here in Sault Ste. Marie, 16 in Elliott Lake, and 17 in Sudbury. So a nice seasonal night as well for if you want to open up the windows again and cool the house down. All right, currently we're sitting at 19 degrees. We have a few clouds lingering, as you saw on the camera earlier. The sun will come out. We will see a seasonal day, high of 22 with a humidex of only 25. It's going to be a nice, comfortable day. You know, you want to get out for a walk and not scorch. Today's a good day to do that. You need to cut the lawn like I do. I'm going to do that today because it'll be a perfect day for that. And then you're only going to see winds about 21 kilometers an hour to the northwest. So you'll have a nice cool breeze coming from the northwest, which will be nice. And you'll see a low of 15 overnight and clear once again. Thursday, you're going to bump up to 24 degrees, which is around seasonal as well, with a low of 16. We're going to see mainly sunny. Friday and Saturday, we do see those temperatures creep back up with a bit of humidity. 25 and 27 are your highs, and lows of 15 and 16. You are going to see mostly sunny as well, and you know, I have a lot of sun coming up in the 7-day for your you know, quote-unquote long weekend if you have it off. So I will have that coming up with the Weather Watcher photo coming up later in the show. So I'll send it back over to Chris and Dani.
Thanks so much, Shane. It's nice to know that, you know, our temperatures are slowly starting to come back up, and it's going to look nice for the rest of the week. We've been battling with the, is it going to rain? How much wind is there going to be? And now it just kind of looks like it's all leveling out, which is really, really exciting. At this time, we also do want to acknowledge one business who's really taken it upon themselves to do something great for the community, and that is Plan A Algoma. What they did is they actually kind of put together little care packages for different organizations throughout the town. They had certain things, it's little kits that they had. So in these kits, there were washable face cloths, filter inserts, surgical masks, disposable bags for in-store use, reusable straws, water bottle, hand sanitizer. And the individuals at Plan A Algoma just thought they wanted to spread the love for everyone, so they ended up going to Women in Crisis, the Soup Kitchen, the Rainbow Club, and so far they've given over 60 of these kits to the community. Like, really good job. And we've seen lots of community members come together right now. We know Maker North, he's been busy making his masks, and you go back over to OC Bath and Body, like, phenomenal what they're doing. But we are going to have more local stories and a few sports stories when we get back from this commercial break.
Recently, the Government of Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
back to special report for Wednesday, July the 29th. Thank you very much for KC Securities for your sponsorship. So we got some new numbers for Ontario. Things are looking good. We had 111 new cases, and that is down from 119 just the day before, but it's way down from this past weekend when we saw a couple times over 200, and we had 6 in Toronto. Yes, 6. And we are expecting Doug Ford to announce today when Toronto will move to stage 3, whether or not they do it on Friday. Previously, all the bumps up to the next stage have happened on Friday, so maybe today they're going to announce that this Friday that Toronto will move to stage 2.
Because it's Toronto, Peel region, and as well as Windsor and Essex.
But Windsor-Essex has a couple big outbreaks there.
Again, border cities.
Yeah, they're probably not going to be moving Windsor-Essex. Maybe Peel as well. Peel has had lower case counts over the last few days as well.
It has, but who knows what's going to happen from that 200 people party.
Yeah. And where did those 200 people actually come from to begin with? I mean, they could have been from all over Toronto. They could have been up from Barrie. You have no idea.
You have no idea.
Because it was a massive party. So it looked like more than just a couple of locals having a backyard barbecue. When you hire security to go park cars elsewhere, that's usually a fairly large party, especially if it's at a house.
No kidding.
But anyways, so our 5-day rolling average is at 140 cases per day right now. That's not the lowest it's been, but it is definitely a lot lower than it was even a couple days ago because of that big bump up over last weekend. Ottawa saw 25 new infections and Windsor saw 22. 16 different public health units had 0 cases, including us here in Algoma. We haven't had a positive case in a little over a week.
We're all resolved to now, aren't we?
Yes, we are fully resolved. So we actually have 0 cases right now. So that's good.
And unfortunately, our neighbors, and I will say neighbors, even though they are 3 hours away, they're still our neighbors. Sudbury over yesterday, the day before, they went up 8 new cases.
Yeah, in a single day, and I think 13 in total over the last 4 or 5 days. Yeah.
We hope that those travelers kind of stay.
Yeah, if you could just stay in Sudbury, that would be appreciated.
That would be great.
Yeah. And then Porcupine also has had a couple cases lately as well. So we're surrounded by public health units that have cases of COVID-19, and luckily right now we don't. And we're 700 kilometers wide, so we are at least a fair distance away from most of them. So
that's what we're hoping, and we're gonna hope it continues that way. And our next story is coming to you from Ottawa. So this happened actually. There were 2 people aboard a small plane who managed to escape. There was this plane crash that happened at 8:34 p.m. yesterday. It was actually near one of Ottawa's highways, Highway 417, and there's an image right there to our screen. Officials say when firefighters, police, and paramedics arrived, they found the aircraft overturned in a field. The 2 who were on the plane were treated for undetermined injuries. Firefighters say the dose fuel that leaked from the plane, so there was actually a fuel leak that caused this. There it is, capsized over, but
so again, they run out of fuel in the air?
I believe so. That's kind of what they're saying.
That's got to be scary. All of a sudden the plane turns into a glider.
Yeah, here it is. The firefighters say the dosed fuel that leaked from the plane with the foam to prevent a fire. I don't... But they're doing lots. I mean, it's good to know that the 2 passengers were able to escape the plane safely.
Because those planes are... There's not much between you and the outside world on those planes.
No, there's not. It's just like our water bomber planes. I call them water bomber planes. Yeah. But same thing. I mean, you're in there, and if something happens...
Yeah, a friend of my mom flies planes like that, and it's just like, I'm good with the bigger ones. But those smaller ones,
smaller ones.
I'll pass on the feather lights. I'll go for the big jumbos. There's much nicer to probably if you're gonna be in a crash, the bigger one's probably better. I'm just saying that because there's nothing on those other ones. I mean, like literally, it's like a thin piece of metal between you and the ground.
Oh, I know. It's
There's a lot more safety precautions and features on those larger planes. But we're going to go to commercial break. We will be back in 1 minute.
Sports.
Even though we can't always meet in person, we can still listen.
Even though schools are closed, help is still available in your community.
Even though you may be worried, services and supports are still here.
In stressful times like these, families need mental health supports more than ever.
We are here to make sure you can stay connected to your community and culture.
Nous savons qu'il peut être difficile de rester à la maison, mais vous n'êtes pas seul. And we know asking for help for yourself and others can be hard.
But there are people in your community who are ready to support you.
No matter your age, gender, sexual identity, race, or culture.
No matter the day, time, or issue.
We're here to help.
And welcome back to Special Report for Wednesday, July the 29th. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We'll be back at 1 p.m. today with Doug Ford's announcement regarding long-term care and COVID-19. They're going to be announcing an inquiry into it, and we will be here at 1 p.m. for that announcement. Mary Lee Fullerton, a Minister of Long-Term Care, will be there with Doug Ford. And now we're going to go over to Daniel for the 7-day forecast.
Thank you very much, Chris and Dani, and we're going to show our Weather Watcher photo. This one was sent in from Danielle Wiersbicki. She's one of my regulars now. She's sending in lots of photos, and she took this last night when those clouds were over top of us. The water tower is in the shot there. You can see pretty scary looking clouds. So that did move through, but it didn't produce anything as scary. I think St. Joe's Island, Craig was mentioning, did get some major winds and maybe a bit of hail. So we escaped all of that. So if you want to send in your photos and videos of weather incidents or weather events that you may find, on tvweather@gmail.com, and include your name and location. All right, we're going to do a quick recap of your 7-day. Thursday, Friday, you're looking at seasonal. It's going to bump up Friday. Saturday, you will see that humidity come back. And Sunday, Monday, you're back down to those seasonal temperatures, as well as Tuesday, Wednesday. And it's pretty much sun majority of the time, other than a few clouds. Your lows overnight, you're looking at 15 to 16 degrees. There's one day there that's 14, so it's going to be nice and cool. Our record high was 33.9 today. We won't see that, or we won't see that 48.3 that I mentioned earlier that Oregon had. So it will be a good week. So I just want to remind everybody once again, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to stewonline.com, click on the YouTube icon, and you can watch all of our shows, all of our content anytime you want there. All right, I'm going to send it back over to the desk.
Thank you so much, Dan. We love knowing our 7-day forecast. Oh my gosh. And it's so good that people are actually sending in these pictures. They're really great. And I honestly thought it was going to storm. But before we end the show, we are going to end off with sports talk. Woohoo! If everyone was watching, hopefully you were. The Leafs played last night against the Habs in their first preseason game. And of course, they won 4-2. It was a great game. It was definitely a game that...
Well, the Leafs are great at winning the preseason ones. It's when they get to the real season.
You know what? I can't say anything about that because they're not even my team.
Not my team either.
Exactly. Yeah. New York Rangers, they play tomorrow. Super excited. But we also want to talk about, we know right now all these teams are in their own little bubbles, and we know Toronto is one of these bubble hubs. So right now, they actually have Boston there, Tampa Bay, Washington, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Montreal, Carolina, New York Islanders, Florida, Toronto, and Blue Jackets. To think that there are that many teams in one area, and to think we're doing playoffs in the middle of summer. Normally they're done by June.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, I'm definitely super excited for this.
And we normally usually make jokes about we're still playing hockey in June. Like when you get to the Stanley Cup, and now it's like, oh, we're starting the playoffs in July.
I mean, I'm happy. I'm glad that they figured out. So again, yesterday was a Leafs pregame season. They don't start their actual season until August 1st, like many of the other teams as well. It's going to be really interesting to see what they're doing. We also know that the Raptors played last night too. Unfortunately, they lost. But again, they're just starting out. We've bunch of time, but we will be back at 1 o'clock, so stay tuned. We hope you have a great day, and thank you for tuning in to the special report.
See you back here at 1.